Hey, folks, welcome back to the Pulse. It's 3 o'clock Central Texas time. My name's Matt. This is Crypto Heartbeat. And today we are talking about TEXITCON. We're going to talk about Texas independence, the Texan token, what's going on with TEXITCON. But this is completely dedicated to an event that's coming up here, really the 9th through 12th, but the core of the event is the 10th through the 12th. There's an event on the evening of the 9th in Waco, Texas. So this is the place to be. And I'm excited because we, as a sponsor of this event, the Texan Token folks, we're excited because we're going to be doing some of the programming at this event. And that is related to crypto. There's a lot of people in the Texas nationalist movement, as well as people across the board who want to know more. And this is an opportunity for us to get together and, get to know each other, build relationships. And guess what? Brandon will be there. If you can believe it, Brandon from Rags to Riches will be in Waco. And if there's any reason not to come, that's probably it. Although, you know what? I think he does need someone to hold him accountable. So I think it's a really great reason to get together. We're going to do a specific Texan meetup. This will be all the Texan fans can get together on Thursday evening. We're going to have a location for that. We'll have some banners and such, but that's going to be the evening of the 9th, which is exciting, right? We're going to have dedicated time. And I think this is a time where everyone can come and kiss Brandon's ring. I think that's what you do at these meetups. Isn't that what we do? He sits back in the corner and everybody comes in. He's like, "It's good to see you." And maybe you come and, kiss the ring or something like that. Anyway, it is good to have you here back again. This is the second stream of the day. I got so excited about where things were with the pump of Hex. I was like, this is just what I needed, a shot in the arm. Maybe you need that too, a shot in the arm once in a while. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm super excited because, on one hand, you could get yourself really depressed these days with what's happening in the world. The U.S. Embassy in Lebanon on fire, right? All kinds of crazy things happening in this world. And of course, I might even talk about that because as that relates to how is Texas going to be independent once again? So let's talk about it after we say hello to you and welcome you back to Crypto Heartbeat. DJ and Dougie Peach, let's go. Welcome back. Rich Liberation, Texan in the house. Let's free the captives. Well, and that's part of the big plan. We'll be talking about that. How does this all fit in to this plan? Because I asked the question, where do good people go? Who are the good people? I think that's you and me, the people that are concerned about our kids and our grandkids. It's crazy. Actually, my nephew's having a baby and could have had a baby already, but today they induced and all of that. What's amazing about it is my nephew, he is, let's see, we've got a great grandmother. So a great great grandchild is being born today, the first of that type. And when you think about the future and what we're leaving to our grandkids, and if there's anyone who knows about what you're leaving to your grandkids, it is Sam Kemp. Is that how do we think about these things? How do we prepare for the future? And we live in this crisis era. And of course, we talk about Texan token, and that's obviously this, immutable contract on the blockchain that people can use or not use that creates trustless yield, has scraping, all of these great qualities. But the amazing thing about it is it's not only the first endowment token on the blockchain, but it's also it's a vehicle for a group of people to say, listen, imagine what things would look like if we rebooted the system. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Texas independence. We're going to talk about TEXITCON because I want you to come. I want you to come. I want to meet you. I want to shake your hand. I want you to be a part of things. And I'm going to give you an incentive to come. I'm going to give you a gift personally. It's going to come from me. I'm going to give it to you if you come to TEXITCON. We'll talk about the details of that here at the end. And there'll be a secret code word. A secret code word you're going to have to know in order to benefit. So you're going to have to listen and hear and write this down. And you're going to have to, if you want to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Sam Kemp is all here. He is all ears. And Kinetics. What is up, Kinetics? What a great supporter. Kinetics is the OG of all OGs when it comes to crypto. And he's been such a great supporter and somebody that has been he's been with us the whole way. And we just align in so many ways. But I think Kinetics sees the future. And so he's always been a big fan and supporter of us when it comes to the Texan token, Texas independence, just amazing. But this is the first time in the blockchain where we have a direct relationship between, a cryptocurrency and a political movement. And that's pretty cool too. And that's, what is the strategy here? Is it like to the moon, pump it right now? No, this is what the whole process is. We want to create something that is a legacy for the people of Texas and freedom loving people across the world. Well, you don't have to live in Texas to be a part of the Texan token. But what you're doing is, I think you have this opportunity to invest in the people. And how crazy would it be? Talk about utility in crypto. Birthing a new nation sounds like a pretty good utility to me. Hexy Quinn, what is up? Thank you for being here and supporting all of our friends from Texan. And Hexy Quinn is here making everything bright and cheery. Is that right? Yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe that's right. David Lee's in the house. That's the guy that traveled all the way from southwestern Indiana to my dad's funeral, man. He is the guy. Isn't it cool to have David Lee as a part of, and doesn't it sound like it? David Lee, the military man that he is, somebody that's, watching out and protecting the troops in the field. Fallen comrade, let's go. Casey Hex, hello all. Time to move to Texas. Well, where do good people go? That's what I look at this. I mean, where do you go? And that's the thing that, Texas independence, it seems, I think for some people like, that's not going to happen. Well, it's not a matter of it's going to happen or not going to happen. I think it's inevitable. I think when you think about what's happening, I'm going to make the case for why I believe Texas independence is inevitable. That'll be the main content. And then we're going to talk about TEXITCON and the details of that. And I want to convince you to come. I want you to convince you to come. Talk to your spouse, if you have one, about how cool Waco is for the ladies. That's something you could do. It's a very cool place. It's got, Chip and Joanna Gaines. It's got what are those called? The silos. It's got good food. It's got Baylor University. It's pretty nice. And you need to be there. You need to be there for a lot of reasons. You need to learn. You need to connect with people. You need to high five some good folks from the Pulse Chain community. Take me to Texas. There you go. Let's go, Rigby. Well, Rigby. I wonder if Rigby will be there. And that's something that the last time he came and he traveled all over the state. This time he's going to come in and he's going to actually be speaking from the main stage, from my understanding as well. So that'll be interesting. Drix, what's up, Drix? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Godfather J6 is here. Angela, hello, Angela. Howdy, everyone. Thanks for the kind words. You bet, buddy. You absolutely bet. You are the best. Morning, folks. Paul Stomach is here. Susie Q's back again. Hey, Matt. I'm floating in a pool, and I am here. What an amazing thing to be doing, right? There's nothing like just sitting back, got your eyes closed, listening to Crypto Heartbeat. We got 22 people here. It must be a sign. Tex Hex, stake it and scrape it too. What is going on, Tex Hex? Appreciate you being here. All of our friends in the house. Matt, make sure you let everyone know about Christians in Crypto channel too. I watch all of your streams on this channel. Not as many will engage over there yet. Yeah. So what I do is when I do publish this, I publish to Crypto Heartbeat, Christians in Crypto, and to X or Twitter if you prefer. So thank you very much, Kinetics. Appreciate that. David Lee in the house. The background's gone. Everybody's going to know the secret. That is the secret. Boom, it's back. So, I actually fooled Axis Alive with my background. He thought I was in some beautiful location with raindrops on the windows, but in fact, it is it's a 4K television, and it works great as a backdrop. So there you go. You saw behind. Stake it, let's scrape it. Absolutely. John is the representative from the Texas Nationalist Movement. He's out of the, I think it's Lano area. 10 minutes late, but I got here as fast as I could. Hey, thanks for being here. just like they say in Texas, right? Took you a long time, but here you are. It's amazing. I got a chance to meet John at one of the Texas meetups. It was it was one of the Texan meetups, and it was just I don't know, brother from a different mother, if you know what I'm saying. So, folks, let's jump into the content, and then we'll just get into it. TEXITCON's coming up here in Waco, 9th through the 12th, and I know that we're going to put a link up in the description here, and you'll see it in the description under the video here. There's two things you want to look at. One is the actual conference website, and that's at texitconference.com. Now, we, as the Texan Token, as a sponsor of and a part of supporting the conference itself, we are given, I'm going to put this in there. Let's see how it'll come out. Texitconference.com, if you see that. Yeah, there we go. Go take a look there. But if you want a discounted ticket, you need to go to /Texan Token. Okay, so David Lee just put this up in the chat here. Special discount for TEXITCON. So you get a discount if you come through that link. And it's not an expensive ticket. But here's the thing. There are a number of speakers there. They're adding speakers every single day. But we are in charge of the crypto track or the finance track. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things. So things are broken down into kind of, about 30-minute segments. And so we're going to have a session on the Texan Token. For those that are new, they're going to understand what's going on there. We're going to help people learn more about, how the Texan Token works and, how it's set up and staking and scraping and all of those type of things. We'll have an intro to crypto, just people understanding. There's a number of people within the community of the TNM that still want to be reminded, but also educated on the basics of cryptocurrency. That's one of the cool things about what we're doing here is we're onboarding new people into crypto. And I'm going to tell you, there is not a better time to be in and to get in. This is the bottom of the market when it comes to altcoins. And we haven't turned money printers back on. And there's only one lever to pull in the federal government, and that is to print more money. And folks, this is our opportunity. And this couldn't come at a better time. Because when we look at the past, and we look at the past cycles, things usually kick off at the beginning of the year, and then we've got the Bitcoin halvening. So if there's a time to bring a friend to Waco, to TEXICON, this is it. And I'm going to give you an incentive to come and bring your friend. It is going to be worth it for you to come and be a part of this and see this community of people, and to meet Brandon, right? To come kiss the ring. Everybody's got to do that. We're going to get Hexy Quinn there. We've got to get Hexy Quinn there, right? So at least we can keep Brandon's ego in check. Don't you think that'd be good? Maybe we could have like a spontaneous like cage match. Brandon and Hexy Quinn. Wouldn't that be fun? I know who would win that one. Trust me, I know. All right, so let's talk about Texas independence. I read the book Texit by Daniel Miller well over 2 years ago. And it really struck me. And this was actually, I think it was actually the election time. Yeah, I picked up the book right around the election. And, I've always been, I'm anti-establishment. I'm a good Gen Xer. And I read the book. And in the book was a chapter on the challenges of fundraising for the Texas nationalist movement. And it was a really interesting time in crypto. And I had seen Richard Hart do the Sens Foundation fundraising effort. And I had reached out to the Texit folks and TNM, and I said, you know what? I've done fundraising all my life. I'd love to help you in any way. And Daphne reached out to me. And Daphne's so wonderful. She's the chief of staff for Daniel. And she reached out to me, and so did Nate Smith, the executive director. And they came and met me for barbecue at Miller's. And we sat there and chatted about this stuff. And I said, well, I'd love to help you. And that was really kind of traditional fundraising counsel. Just, hey, I'll volunteer my time and help you out. And then we got into this conversation about crypto. And I said, do you want to raise $1 million or you want to raise $1 billion? And of course, Nate was like, $1 billion sounds good. And I have to give a lot of credit to the TNM. Nonprofit organizations are extremely conservative and rightfully so. But what's interesting is I think that they understood and recognized that they needed a catalyst when it came to fundraising. And so what basically came out of that was the Catalyst campaign. And this was a campaign in which people would give to the Texas Nationalist Movement, and it would be a non-tax deductible gift because they're a C4 civic organization. So a 501c4 civic organization. But in the process, they would give them loyalty points within their organization. And when we did token distribution, when we launched the Texan token, we distributed based on their advice, right? They basically said, hey, here are our people, here are our donors. And so that's how Texan token was distributed. All the money went directly to the Texas Nationalist Movement to support the efforts of getting on the ballot, right? And so this is the big strategy. The big strategy of the TNM as a nonprofit organization that's helping educate people, regardless of their political affiliation, with the benefits of Texas independence. What they basically, what they do is they say, hey, we want to give or we want to put on the ballot, whether that be the main ballot or on a primary ballot, um, a very simple question to people. And that is, do you believe that Texas should reassert itself as an independent nation? And of course, anytime that's been polled recently, it's been above 60%. In one case, it was 66%. So think about this for a second. We've got all this happening in the world. We've got a border that's like Swiss cheese, right? We've got, 260,000 people coming over the border like last month. And, right now, obviously, you got the federal government going after Texas for putting in these buoys in the middle of um, the river. I mean, got all kinds of stuff that's happening. And it goes to show you that this is kind of ground zero for a national challenge, but it just goes to show you the political nature of this policy, and that's to have an open border. And it's interesting, and I think it's extremely ironic to me that we would spend 100 billion. Think about this: $100 billion has been sent to protect the border of Ukraine. And of course, we've known this for years. It's almost like they want us to forget this, that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt governments on planet Earth, right? Even the president's son was getting what, $60,000 a month from Burisma. Remember they impeached the president over a phone call with Zelensky, who was like a comedian actor guy? Yeah. They had put in a puppet of the US. We could go into a lot of detail there, but the point is $100 million given to protect someone's border. Right? Oh, yeah, we're defending democracy. But you see, when you realize what's going on and you know that this is an effort to change the very demographics of a country by leaving a border open, because you think this is what you think if you can change this and let these people in, that they're going to vote Democrat. That's the whole point of the whole thing, right? You would do anything. And it's gotten to the point, and that's where the civilized society erodes, is that when you have no mooring and there's nothing that is too far for you to go. And that's what we see in politics in America right now. And that's why we're going to see these things fail, because they're a lot more delicate than people realize. But if you look, I believe that the border crisis and all of these ridiculous things that we're doing, it's so dissonant to regular people. And of course, regular people are busy because they're just trying to make a couple bucks just to cover the inflation, right? If you've been to the store recently, you know what I'm talking about. But the challenge here is, you know, when you're going up against an opponent, and that opponent, there's no distance too far, right? They'll do anything to get their way. And when you see that they would literally risk the safety of people, which is like one of the primary reasons the government even exists, is to protect the people. And when you see actually the government working against you, you're like, so to me, I believe that ultimately this open border issue in the southern border of Texas is ultimately going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back when it comes to Texas independence. It's going to be a massive, major factor. And so, what is this thing all about? People a lot of times that are real conservative, they're much more willing to suffer than change. Well, but here's the thing: it's going to get to the point, and so I'm gonna make a case for this. You know, it's already extremely dissonant. It's highly, highly volatile situation. It's obvious to normal people that this is a political strategy. Um, there's no support for keeping the border open except for a political one. And so you've got that issue in and of itself. But I think more fundamentally, it is a conversation about fairness. And so let me break that down for you. The way I see Texas independence and why I think it's so vital for us is because in a way we've forgotten who we are. We have to recognize in the Declaration of Independence talked about these rights that we have are self-evident. Okay. When something is self-evident, it is obvious. It is obvious to us that we don't get our rights from the state. And what has happened over a period of time since the beginning of America has been this issue that we basically have convinced people over a series of years that the state grants people their rights. And that's fundamentally incorrect, right? We find these truths to be self evident that all men are created equal. And you're given by your creator certain rights, right? These inalienable rights. So if it goes creator, right, gives rights to man and man creates government, then that's the correct hierarchy, right? We, the people, we create these things. Why do we create government? Why do we do this? So that we can have a more perfect union, that we would have a civilized society. And what is it supposed to do, right? These things are limited, right? Enumerated, right? This is the limitation. And there gets to be a certain point, right? And we've seen this over, years. And what's ironic about this is that the US has in the, under the guise of freedom, defended people's ability to be self-determined across the world. But when it comes to here, where the people are unhappy with the nature of government and gotten to the point where no, the system has created a fourth leg of government called the bureaucratic state. And so when we see, you know, they're legislating from the bench, right? These are, um, the definitely when you think about in within the courts, you've got judges who are essentially making laws, right? You've got this bureaucratic state, which is a massive, massive expense. We literally have spent ourselves out of existence. We've, I mean, just get into debt and the whole fractional reserve banking system. I mean, there's so many reasons, but at the end of the day, the main point is that we've lost our way. We don't realize that we are actually the sovereigns in this conversation. And if you think about it, this isn't a matter for the courts to decide. This is a matter for you and me to decide because we are the sovereigns in the scenario. What the government has basically said is we're the sovereigns. We're the sovereign state and we will tell you what to do. Well, that's called slavery, my friends. So if you don't have a peaceful way in which you can abolish or change your system, you're enslaved. So what is the Texas nationalist movement attempting to do with Texas? Just like with Brexit, what are they attempting to do? We want to abolish or change this thing. Well, what does it mean? We want to be independent. We want to go it alone. It's interesting that we would defend, places that are, um, you know, that have very, very little productivity and very, very few when it comes to population. And here we sit with 30 million people in Texas, unbelievable GDP. It's amazing. Deepwater port, amazing natural resources, and independent minded people. And we were once our own republic for 9 years. There's all these reasons that Texas can handle. If we became independent today, we'd be the ninth largest economy in the world. You know what? I believe that the world needs an independent Texas because it needs leadership, right? Without vision, the people perish. We need leadership. And if you think about, what makes this happen, right? Is it, well, we just have it on the ballot and people vote and then poof, here we are independent? No. Look at Brexit. Look at how difficult that process was. But I think the key and why I really admire Daniel and the TNM is because they've learned a lot from independence movements across the world. And what people don't realize is that in 1950, there were like half as many countries. And they didn't all form the way that we're talking. It's not all revolution. But independence is not some bizarre thing. It's actually extremely common. And so we have what, 193 countries now in the world? And it's this is the natural progression of people being self-determined. And you know, this thing's gotten out of hand and it's going to get to a certain point, a boiling point in which, you don't want people to suffer, right? You don't want to have, armed conflict. No. You want people to be able in a civilized way. And that's why Article 1, Section 2 of the Texas Constitution says that all political power resides in the people. Well, why? Because they understood fundamentally that we created this thing. So, what we would like to do is change this thing, abolish this thing, start anew. Well, what does it mean and what does it look like? And one of the things Daniel said to me when I had first met him, he said, take a look at the Scottish referendum, right? So, Scotland wanting to be independent. And the problem was it was hijacked by a political party and it fell on political lines and it failed. And he made a really good point. I think this is one of the most compelling things to me about how does this work? People need to recognize that the vision for Texas independence, at least from my perspective, is that this is actually a place in which we're going to restore fairness. Like, what are the intent of blind justice? What does it mean to have, fair and equal treatment? That we don't have a two-tiered system. That's the thing that people get mixed up. They look at what they call the justice system and think that, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. No, it's not fair. If you've got more money, you get a different form of justice. If you've got power, you have a different form of justice. The whole idea of the blindfold over the eyes is that it's fair for all people. And when you think about where technology has come, what we have with, technology in money, when it comes to Texas independence and the Texan token, there are so many advances that have happened that this is an opportunity for us to belly up to the table, even with political foes, and to say, what does a new nation look like? And this process of negotiation, after, for example, we have a referendum, there's at least 2 years, if not more, where some changes happen to the Texas Constitution. We literally belly up to the table and say, how do we create a place that is better? And what do we want? And here's the thing that I think is really important is that when you advocate for Texas independence, you actually are advocating for what made America great. Originally, the formation of America, preserving what was great about America. What is that idea? That idea is truth and fairness, right? It's it's limiting the government. It's putting it into its rightful place. And the cool thing about it is when you reboot something, I mean, think about your computer. You reboot the system, right? It's running slow. Yeah, it's gotten all overloaded and you need to defrag it for my Microsoft folks. Well, what do you do when you do that? You reorder things and you say, all right, what are the things that are needed and what are the things that we need to get rid of? Well, guess what would not exist in um, the new Republic of Texas? Well, one, the IRS, right? There'd probably be a different model, probably some sort of fair tax. I don't dictate these things, but those are the things that would be on the table. And when you restart something, you literally have the opportunity to say, it's not like we're continuing something that currently exists or even abolishing it. We're saying, no, we're starting anew. Well, it's amazing how much money we send to the federal government. And so, one of the big arguments that people have, well, you can't do that. What about Social Security? Well, anyone that's challenged there, if we didn't send that money to the federal government, we'd have way more to support the people who are on Social Security or veterans benefits. You take those things, you can go, no, that's the whole point of reforming something. It's not to create a kingdom. It's actually to protect and bless the people of Texas. Oh, imagine that idea if leaders that led nations actually were concerned about their people, their health and well-being. If they were actually concerned about their people, they would look at things like the fentanyl crisis, right? They would look at things, and that's the thing. It's so dissonant and tone deaf when it comes to the people. I mean, at least lie to me and fake that you're interested. There's not even that. People aren't even faking that they're interested in watching out for the people of the United States. We're too busy worrying about other people and, the borders of the most corrupt nation in the world. And it's interesting because it's run by warmongers and it's the business of war. And that's what we're going to see here. And not to go off on a tangent, but you know what they're really trying to do in the Middle East, at least from my perspective, right? This is a Sunni backed Muslim, you know, support to get rid of the Shia. Well, who are they? That would be Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran. I mean, there's some Syrian folks that you can kind of throw in there and think about that. This has been the plan. And I'm not talking on the spiritual side of things, but what do they see? The Abraham Accords made deals with the UAE. I mean, Saudi Arabia fits into that, Morocco. It's all about, hey, we want to have economic development here and make life better. And they're like, they don't want to do that in the Gaza Strip. And Hezbollah doesn't want to do that. And they're funded by the Iranians. And look at the support of the Syrians. And so, what I think is this, they're seeing this as an opportunity to basically go, hey, we get a very limited window of opportunity to do this. And I think if the warmongers had their way, they would take out Iran, they would take out Syria, they would take out Lebanon, which would be Hezbollah and the Gaza Strip. And they just basically beat back. And this would be essentially, the conflict that's between the Sunnis and the Shia is this challenge. And they say, well, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so it's interesting to see what is happening and what the plans have been for a long time and how people use crises. But folks, we got a crisis right here on our border. We've got a crisis right here. And this is an opportunity, in my opinion, for us to not only create a place where good people can go, but also to give hope for the future of our posterity. So great kids and grandkids. But one of the cool things that happened in all of this is the Texan token. And if it wasn't for Richard Hart saying, hey, here's a way in which we can do that to support the TNM, this is a way in which, hey, the Texan token is going to exist regardless of whether Texas becomes independent. But to think that we could work together, what do you think would happen with the Texan token if things advanced with Texas? It's interesting, isn't it? And what would it look like in this next bull run when the people of the Texas nationalist movement have resources? There's no guarantees of anything. But what if there was kind of a Hex-like experience for those people? And if, for those of you who don't know, Hex, a cryptocurrency founded by Richard Hart, went up 10,000 times, 10,000x in 623 days. That's a lot. That's a lot. And what's amazing about that is that would completely change the mathematics. It would change things for good people, not warmongers and not centralized authorities to have resources. And what happens when people have resources? They want to change things for the better because they don't have, nuclear buttons and, the war machine. And so to me, this is a match made in heaven. How do we work together to help restore and to take back and to communicate to people? No, we are no longer going to go along with this. We are going to come together in Waco in November, the 9th through the 12th, and we are going to build a community and we are going to get fortified for this effort to get things on the ballot so that we can see an opportunity, right? This opportunity is presenting itself, and Texas independence is in the balance. And I believe every day that goes by, it becomes more and more inevitable because those that are literally destroying America, they're going to destroy it regardless of whether we have an alternative. And that's the thing I want to really emphasize. They will destroy America. And it's not just by their hands. This has been a long process for a long time, but it is ultimately going to fail. And when this thing fails, are we ready? That's the big question. Are we going to be ready with an alternative that blesses and protects people? I want to be ready. And to think that, and I look back at it, I think about the things that happened that got us to the point where we said, yes, we're going to do the Texan token. The inspiration of all that stuff is, it's some of the things are miraculous. Sam Kemp knows those stories. That's, to me, I look at this and I go, all right, do I know how every step is going to go? No. But do I believe that people having the opportunity for self-determination? Yeah. Do I think that people having an opportunity, how exciting it is to say, you know what? We are going to come to the table and we're going to reform this thing. How do we reform it? How do we reboot it? And what should we do? What should taxation look like? What should money look like? What should foreign policy look like? What should security look like? What should we, how should we do things when it comes to the legal system? And, everything goes through cycles. And we're seeing the fall. It's the fall of Rome again. The empire. What is this empire trying to do? And of course, there's people across the pond and across the world who would like more than anything to see the US stretched so thin that it falls apart. But you know what? I do love America. But I love America the idea, not America the dirt. We can preserve what's great about America and Texas. This idea, why is this blessing of prosperity? What is America represented? Freedom, folks. Freedom. What do we see now from a federal government that's supposed to serve us and to basically serve at our will? We're seeing an enemy. Folks, this is a peaceful way to do that. It's to use the political process to put on the ballot and to let the people speak. And that's amazing. And to me, what drives this? Well, we hope that there are in this next cycle. And to me, here's some cool indicators. Dave Phelan, who is the Speaker of the House in Texas, not only corrupt, but essentially a rhino Republican who has gone along because of power, wanting to, control the House. And he's given that over to the Democrats, basically, even though there are more Republicans in the House than Democrats. And if you want to know more about this, there's an incredible interview with Tucker Carlson and the Attorney General Paxson, who they tried to impeach. And when you actually hear what's going on in Texas, and of course there's a civil war in the Republican Party right now in Texas. This is a part of it. Who are the people who's going to be the new speaker? Who are going to be the new folks that get in? This is the catalyst for Texas independence and getting things on the ballot because we're going to see the people. And I'm going to tell you, they thought they were going to get Paxson down. They were like, oh, we're going to get that guy. What was he doing? He was trying to fight against election interference. Yeah, all the things. The Biden administration sent all kinds of people to try to take him out. You know what you end up doing when you try to take someone out and you fail? You create something so much stronger. And so what are we going to see? Are we going to see Paxson as the governor? Are we going to see him taking Cornyn's spot in the Senate? Or are we going to see someone step up and go, you know what? We are going to lead the people of Texas to independence. It was interesting. The first time I really thought about Texas independence was during Rick Perry's administration, and he's probably the last one to really speak directly and say, "Hey, we'll go it on our own." I don't know if you realize, but if you don't live in Texas, you don't realize how secession is a part of the culture because independent-minded and independent-spirited people, that's what Texas folks are. And I got an introduction to that because my kids were learning Texas history. I'm from Michigan. And my kids are seventh generation Texans, and I didn't realize this until my brother-in-law comes in and goes, "Hey, open up the Texas Handbook." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, look up General Pearson." And so I didn't realize that my kids were the descendant of the guy who literally surveyed Austin, the city of Austin. He was given 20,000 acres. He literally was captured by Santa Anna's army. He escaped. They captured him again. Then he drew the white bean and he was released. Had that not been the case, like my whole, wife's side of the family story is gone. And it's amazing to me that this history is so rich. But here we are. We find ourselves in this time once again, right? A crisis era. It's almost like it's, 1860s again. And I don't mean from a Civil War standpoint, because we don't have the same kind of enemy. We don't have the battle line strong. But what we do have is, you know what? We have an opportunity to peacefully say, this has to change. It is about to break. Now, most people are going to suffer instead of change. But it's going to get to the point where people go, what do we do? And we're going to be ready with what we do. And facilitating that conversation with people, I think, is the absolute key. And that's what I admire about Daniel Miller. Is that the right way to do this isn't to say, oh, let's just change the power structure and now I'm in control. No. What does it mean when you animate a tool? Steve Staggs has said this on Friday so many times. You can have a gun sitting on a table, right? It'll just sit there until somebody picks it up and animates it. Well, have guns been used for bad things? Yeah. Have guns been used for good things? Yeah. To provide for your family and food and hunting, but it's also been protection as well. But it's also been used for many things. So the person, we people, animate tools. Well, the government's no different than any tool that's neutral. But what does it look like when you are animating the tools and the systems of government in the nature and character of the one who created you that reflects this blessing and protecting concept? What would it look like? Well, it'd be revolutionary. Well, that's the purpose of the founding of America, is to recognize those things. And you know, it's backwards and upside down. And so, what responsibility do we have? And so, what we're doing is tokenizing a community, the Texas Nationalist Movement, and participating in this and supporting the event called TEXITCON. Comes up November 9th through 12th in Waco, Texas, and you need to be there. Okay. I would encourage you to not only come yourself, if you're in crypto and you're somebody that's, not in the kind of the Texas Nationalist Movement, but you're a Texan token holder or somebody that likes Texan token, hey, come on out and pull on Rags's beard. Okay. We're going to be there on that evening, which I believe, and somebody can put this in the chat, I believe it's the 9th in the evening, we're going to have our meetup. And then the 10th, we have, 10th, 11th, and 12th, we're going to be doing programming as it relates to crypto. And here's what I'm going to do. If you come to the booth, so we're going to have a booth at the TEXICON. All right. If you come, you need to have your MetaMask wallet or a wallet. Okay. And what I mean by that is you need to have that accessible on your phone. Okay. So this is what you'd do. You would get your public address in your phone. Okay. Anyone who attends, if you've got a ticket to TEXICON, I don't care who you are, I'm going to personally give you 1 million Texan tokens. If you come to our table and you use the code word Rigby, you could even share that with a friend. And I know right now TEXITCON is giggling. All right. So the code word is Rigby. If you come to that, they're going to keep track of who you are, the folks that are at that table. And I'm going to personally give you 1 million Texan tokens. I want people to bring their cousin and their friend. And I want the people that support Texas independence to be holders of Texan token. That's what I want to do. I want to give you incentive. And I think about this. It was like, what's the ticket price, right? We're at the absolute bottom of the market. And the gift of Texan to me is fantastic. Why? Because wrapped up in Texan is the hope of the future of the new republic. And to think people could come, I want everyone who comes, right? You come, you go up to TEXITCON or David Lee or Sam Kem, and you said, somebody told me to come up here and say Rigby. You say, yep, that's correct. Hey, give us your wallet address. And what you'll likely do is you'll text it to someone, and I'm going to give you 1 million Texan tokens. Now, in addition to that, if you can believe that, we're going to do a giveaway as well. And we're going to have one big winner who is an attender of TEXITCON as well. So you'd have to attend and be a part of that whole thing. But folks, to me, it's one of these things where I want to give every possible opportunity for the people who believe in Texas independence, want to be a part of that. I want to give them hope for the future. There's no financial advice. There's no forward-looking statements. I can't say, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen. But I'm going to tell you, when I've seen what I've seen in crypto, anything's possible. And that's the key. We have to have people that are excited and motivated and incentivized for the future. And so that's what I'm going to do personally for you. So the code word is Rigby, and you need to come to that event. You need to have a ticket. Okay. And I think what's really cool is this is kind of an investment that I make in you. And it's really anyone you want to bring, right? So you can bring them all. Now they have to be ticketed folks, but we have a discount for tickets. Okay. So if you're somebody that's in the crypto world and you're a Texan holder, come and meet Brandon and myself and say hello to David Lee and get a hug. Like literally, he'll probably have a sign that says free hugs. That's what we need to be doing. You need to meet these folks. There's some incredible people, authentic, genuine, caring people. If you're not just coming for this content or that speaker or whatever, come and let's high five. But I think what's incredible is I want this event to be a special moment where we look back on it and go, this is when this all began. And I don't mean Texan Token. I mean, this is where we galvanize this community. We've had some events here and there, but we haven't had anything official. And this is official around TEXITCON, Texas Independence Conference in Waco, Texas. It's so centralized. If you're in Texas, I mean, it's a perfect location, right? You're in Houston, you can drive up. If you're in Austin or San Antonio, if you're up in Dallas, Fort Worth area, it's right in the absolute heart of Texas. So, and there's great places if you're going to bring a spouse or whatever. And here's the thing, get there. I literally, here's the thing. It's almost like if you were to talk to someone like Kinetics and imagine this scenario, if he thought back to the early days of Hex, and I know that he saw this, he might have even participated in this. Do you know? I remember there were a number of people that were in the early days of Hex were given a bunch of Hex because somebody was just generous. They're like, "Hey, I want to give you this," and it like changed their lives. And I was thinking about this. Coming to a conference and spending whatever it is, it's like $100 or less. And I just think about that. Like, what could this mean to you? What could this mean for you in your future? And then who are you going to meet? Who are you going to connect with? And I would say it's important for us to have these relationships and build these relationships. Now, let me speak to those who are in leadership in the TNM. Okay, I'm going to speak. These are some tough words I'm about to share. If you're a leader and you're responsible for any group, meeting, or you have an obligation, you know about this, you're watching this, you understand about the Texan Token. People need to feel comfortable with this and they need to come and learn. They need to meet the people and realize you're not coming to meet Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, Brandon is debatable, but you're coming to meet these people and understand this. There's a number of people who haven't even given us their wallet addresses for their volunteer time. We want to be able to take care of that as well. We are making ourselves incredibly available to serve you. I want to turn myself inside out in any way I possibly can to get you there. But it's really important that you talk to the folks in your county where you are and realize, hey, we've been slogging this thing out. This is a catalyst. This is an opportunity. And people need to know about this. This is a gift that we give. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink. But if and I'm not saying this is really important. This is not financial advice. But I just imagine, what if in this next bull run, Texas goes to the moon, which is good crypto talk. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. And you had the opportunity to bring a friend to the TEXITCON and get 1 million free Texan tokens and potentially get what, from their donations or whatever and help them out, hold their hand. Guess what? If you're somebody that believes in this stuff, it only helps you to have more people that are knowledgeable about this opportunity. And what's incredible about the Texan token is we're still early in crypto. It's not mainstream. And so who are the people that win? Well, who do you want to win? The people that are supporting the thing that I think could be transformative to our future and our children's and grandchildren's future. I mean, this is a clarion call, my friends. This is the call out to you. You need to be at TEXITCON. And I am essentially going to give you an incentive to do that. I want you to do anything you can. You need to come. You need to come. And I understand maybe you can only come for a day or two. That's fine, but come. Bring a friend. Come through our track, which is the crypto track and finance track. Come through that. Meet us. Come to the meetup. High five David. Get a hug from David Lee. Right? That's worth it just in and of itself. But build those relationships and be a part of this community. And then think about this. Imagine this future. And this is the kind of the way that I like to dream it up. It gets on the ballot and it passes. And I imagine an event, and I'm sure that, Daniel Miller, he'll be fatigued and sweaty. as normal, and he'll literally be standing there just shaking his head like, wow, what he's been through since 1996. And I just imagine that, right? Which is really the beginning of something. But for him, it's something that is like a lifelong commitment. And looking out around, who's he going to look at? He's going to look at us. He's going to go, wow, wow, look what we did together. And it's just the beginning of something great. But it's that leadership and it's that drive. And we need to come together. And I think of nothing greater. I think about other cryptocurrencies and I'm like, everybody's like, well, where's the utility? I can think of no better utility than to have something that could be so consequential to your everyday life. You think about, well, this is an AI crypto. And I think most people in crypto are like, just show me, the chart and green candles. And it's all about money. But what they say out of the other side of their mouth is, oh, that's got to have this, it's got to have this utility to it. Okay, well, what's the utility here? Well, hold on a second. If in fact we come together and support this effort, Texas independence, we build community together. The result of this is not we got an AI tool or hey, we kept track of I don't know the ridiculous things that people are doing in crypto, right? In what they call utility. We say no, we created something that could literally secure people's future financially, but also we are a part of a movement that created a place where good people can go that will bless and protect people in the very nature and character of the one who created it all. That's called vision. Yeah. Yeah. Are we living in that consequential times? And are you a person of destiny? I am. This is what I was made to do. Let's do what we were made to do. Let's play our part. And a big part of that is coming out to TEXITCON. Get there. I want to make it worth your while to come. I'll do anything I can to convince you to come, even by bringing Brandon there. I know that's a big draw. Maybe actually Quinn's like, I'm not sure I'm not going to show up. Let's get back into the chat. If you've got any questions whatsoever about TEXICON, about Texan, about any of that stuff, I will stay on as long as possible and answer any question that you've got. But folks, it's so cool that this stream is tying in with the stream, the emergency pump stream that happened. I am fired up because you know what? If we don't do it, who's going to do it? Let's step up. I'm stepping up. You step up. Come to a conference and meet some people. Get some Texan token, learn about it. And I guarantee you, it will not be something that you'll regret. Why? Because if anything, you're going to make connections. And I believe that that's the key to growing this community. People need to be informed. There's all kinds of lies out there about, oh, you can't do that because of this decision in the Supreme Court. No, we are the sovereign people in this scenario. We create the government. It's not the other way around. We don't get our rights from the state. The governor doesn't go, oh, here are your rights. No. And this whole Bill of Rights thing, it's funny. It's been this trickery to get you to come up underneath a constitution. You don't come up underneath a constitution. The Constitution was created by us. We willingly, right? This is the consent of the governed. You ever think about what that actually means? The consent of the governed. You consent to it. The governor consent to. Why? Because they created it. We are the sovereign people, not the state. Imagine a place where the family is valued. Imagine a place where the money's tied to something of real value. Imagine a place where you can worship freely however you want to. Imagine a place where your Second Amendment rights are protected. Imagine a place where you feel safe and secure. Imagine a place where you are not under the heavy hand of unruly taxation. Imagine a place where there's no IRS. Imagine a place that you contribute to and you are a part of creating. And I'll tell you what, it is so exciting to think that we could work from the premise that's written on the damn money right now. In God we trust. That's what it says. I was literally watching them do the Speaker of the House vote, and right above in the House chamber, it says, in God we trust. And I was like, oh, really? What if it actually was true? What if it was actually true? What if the people that we elected and we sent to Austin actually took it seriously, right? Before Almighty God, literally putting their hand on the Bible and committing. What if we actually had people that said, you know what, my role here is not to accumulate power. My role here is to animate this thing of government, this tool of government, to bless and protect people in the nature and character of the one who created it all. How about them apples? How would that be? Well, that'd be transformative, transformational. We don't have real leaders. You know why? It's the damn hippies, man. It's damn hippies, right, Steve? Anyway, I could go on for a long time, but that's really what we need. And I'm gonna tell you, there's a future that is a beautiful future if we're willing to work it out. Well, what does it take? It takes a step and a step and a step. And what's the next step? Come to Waco on November 9th through 12th. Come to TEXITCON. Come get your Texan tokens. Come high five. Get a hug from David Lee. And maybe, I don't know, rub Rigby's beard for good luck or something like that. Let's get back in the chat and then we'll sign off. We've gone about an hour. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, I've made the case to you that you need to be at TEXICON for whatever reason. Got a question? Let me know. Blessings to all we on board. That's right. Amen to that. Let's see who else is here. ID. Hello, hello. Armies have crossed our border. Isn't that the truth? Wow, David Lee's making a really good point. And here's the thing. You know what's actually going to drive this? And David Lee, thank you for that comment. All of these fighting age men from not Mexico and not Guatemala, right? You watch what ends up happening here. Because here's the thing. Hamas and Hezbollah and all of these people who are being, they're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. They don't have, heat-seeking missiles. They don't have access to nuclear weapons and jets. And all they know to do and all they can do is to create fear and terror. They're already here. And that's the point he's making. How many people have to die? What kind of terrorist activity there has to be before we say no? No. It's up to us. I thought Chuck Norris might have taken you out. Happy to see you're still around. Amen to that. Liberty or death. I hope to make Texit meet up one day to kiss Godfather Rags' ring. Amen to that. It's so cool. That's how Rags is. If you've ever met him in person, I literally met him. And I'm not a small person, but I literally did one of these things. I could not believe the size of the human. I mean, he's the kind of guy that you're like, he's like a pro tight end. And that's probably pretty generous, but he's a big boy. And he is like, now he's got this big red beard. He's like a Viking. Crypto compassion. Let's go, David. Fortunately for me, Chuck Norris is getting old. I can outrun him. Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah, Kinetics is talk about a guy who's working hard for the community in the background. 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats. You know what I'm reminded, John, is these are people, right? And I think if you give people an alternative, even those folks recognize what's true. And when these things tip, they tip over hard, right? And that's the thing. We are going to animate these tools of government to bless and protect people. That's the whole vision for this, right? This is what was it set up for? It wasn't set up to control the people. It was set up to bless and protect. Mixed Crypto Arts, what's going on? Hey, Matt. Hey, everyone. Mr. David Lee, Susie Q, clapping it out. Yep, endowed by our creator with certain inalienable rights. No IRS, I'm in. What's interesting is a lot of the people that went to Texas in 1836, right? When people came to Texas, the Republic, they literally put GTT on their door. And a lot of those people were getting away from the government. Let's do it again. Yo, we mentioned Texas independence and Davis shows up. It's been a while, man. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Nations have founders, agents of change. Wouldn't that be cool that we participate in the founding of a new nation? Let's go. Make it so. Wow. Wouldn't that be incredible? Hospital bombing was fake news, by the way. Well, the question is, failed rocket launch. Yeah, that's what they said. They made it pretty clear. And I guess there's some There's some evidence as it relates to satellite imagery type of stuff. But you know what? All kinds of things in war, the fog of war. Who is with Texan? Let's go make it so. I love that. Um, Ralph, what's going on? Steve Turley will be speaking at Texit. That's right, the TexitCon. I mean, go check it out. Look who's coming, who the speakers are. Steve Turley will be there. Um, Secure and protect political, cultural, and economic independence of the nation of Texas. There you go. That's the purpose of the TNM, right? That's the purpose of this independence movement. Secure and protect the political, cultural, and economic independence of the nation, the Republic of Texas. Hexonium, what's going on? Angela, 100%. When people have bad times, they sometimes feel like God's not blessing them, but they fail to remember maybe God protected them from something far worse. Amen to that, Davis. Isn't that the truth? You think about, wow, this is inconvenient, or this is hard, or I had to learn this lesson, or this is difficult. You're absolutely right. His ways are not our ways. Amen to that. Evo, 100%. What's going on, Evo? Drix is still here. Thanks for being here, Drix. You're the man. Let's go Rigby. I knew you'd like that as the secret code word for your Texan token at the event. I'm going to give you 1 million Texan token. Every person you bring, come on, let's go. I'm going to do that personally. Okay. So I will send them to you. I'll pay the gas. Crypto compassion, Rigby. I had to come up with a word, and I'm like, I know that Quinn's going to love this one. I told my friends in Texas about this. He's interested in meeting you guys. Hey, tell him to come on out. Let's go. Richard Hart back in business. Rigby. They should pay you 1 million Texan to get a hug from David. There you go. Yeah, if David asks you to pay for a hug, there's something wrong. That guy hugged the Uber driver. Oh, hang on. Because I'm going long, I got to take this call. So you're going to have to hang on just a second here. Folks, this is what it's all about right there, right? My son's going to be dropped off. So got to take this. When you go over an hour, you have to I think my wife knew. She's like, hello. It's the people. My online ghost is here. What's going on? See, I'm going to get through this. Finn Bear, good evening. Thanks for showing up and being a part of the excitement. Hold on, Richard Hart's speech. Somebody needs to tell me what's going on. Hexonium, do you know something that I don't know? Clintrons, what's going on? A free and independent Republic of Texas is all the utility I'm looking for. Amen. Well, and that's it. I mean, that's the utility, right? A free and independent Republic of Texas. And that's how I see this. Like the utility, and is it direct? No. Does the Texan token create independence? No. But what it can do in this next run is put resources in the hands of people that can make that change. And so that, by extension, I see as the utility, right? Catalytic, right? Making a catalytic event that could help this thing tip itself over. And I know that money is so important to all of that stuff, but that's the cool thing about this is you can't do it for someone. They have to do it for themselves. And that's why you do your own research. And that's why we're going to be at TEXITCON to do that education. So you learn as much as you can. Help hold hands. David Lee will even hold your hand through things. Trust me. I know this for a fact. Late for the party. Crypto Ethos, thanks for being here. Beautiful hug for everyone all around. Hexadelic. Morning from Australia. Go Richard Hart. Economic for freedom of almost everything. Yeah, freedom of almost everything. I love that. Freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of privacy, freedom to transact. Let's go. So to wrap things up, if you want your discount for TEXITCON, would love to have you there. November 9th through 12th in Waco, Texas. If you want the discounted ticket, you can go there. Remember Rigby. That's what you need to remember. Crypto Compassion, powerful message. All right. Made it. Hexforce One, thanks for being here. Rags is a wide receiver? No, dude, he's way too thick for that. Uh-uh. No, he's a tight end at best. He may end up being a lineman. Not pro lineman, but he's the size of a pro, um, tight end. Morning from Australia. What's going on? Richard Hart ecosystem, the silence of the hex haters, um, going to scammer huggers. Oh my gosh. Folks, thank you for joining the Pulse today. This is the second time in one day. TEXITCON coming up. I hope to see you there. Hope to see you smiling, saying Rigby. Hope you get a chance to kiss Brandon's ring. And, you get to meet David Lee and I hope Immutable and Robert and Samantha and Quinn and all of these folks would be wonderful to see. Um, yeah, it's going to be a good time. But if you're planning on coming in, we're going to have an event, a meetup that's specifically Texan Token meetup on the 9th in the evening. That'll probably be 6:30ish, and it's at a local restaurant bar. After that's going to be an event. That's their welcome event for TEXICON, where all the folks are welcome, live music and all that stuff. Waco is a cool town, and this is a good time to be in Texas, right? November, it's nice. The weather's nice. And so make sure that you come, and bring a friend, right? Bring a friend. And if for nothing else, so that we can meet them and bless them and help encourage them, that this is, only something that we can do together. We can't do it by ourselves. All right. Take care of yourself and others, and do not mess with Texas. Take care, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.